Good morning or good afternoon, whatever the case may be, in whatever time zone you are in. My name is Vince Garcia. I am the Marketing Manager with ipDatatel. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us for today's presentation. ipDatatel presents SecureSmart Cloud, cloud video for IP cameras. Let's move on to our first slide. I'd like to introduce our presenter. You know him, Ryan McConnell. Ryan joined ipDatatel in 2009 as the company's first employee, and Ryan is currently our Director of Business Development. He has over 10 years of experience in the security industry. He is focused on regional, super regional, and national programs, and Ryan remains focused on working with our dealer partners to become more efficient by reducing those upfront costs and reducing unnecessary service calls, all while lowering customer attrition. Ryan, welcome to today's show.
Thank you, Vince. Thanks for having me, and thanks to all of our listeners for being here today.
Awesome. I also would like to let everybody know we have a special guest with us today, Scott Plunkett. He is the product manager here at ipDatatel. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Vince. I'm excited to be here. It's going to be I'm really excited to share this new product with everybody.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks remember you from our last presentation where you handled a lot of the live Q&A. So, guys, what do you say? Let's get started. Ryan, first of all, if you could talk a little bit about ipDatatel and talk about the ipDatatel vision.
Absolutely. So, over the past couple of years, you've really seen ipDatatel evolve and build more and more products, make strategic partnerships, such as the SecureSmart Helix with Resolution Products, releasing LTE. Those are all really wonderful things, and kind of the next step in progression is going to be the ability to connect to cameras. So not only do we provide the future-proofed alarm communications, we'll remain internet-centric, and that especially applies to IP cameras, and providing universal solutions, flexible solutions for you to provide to your customers.
Awesome, great. All right, let's move on. Ryan, let's talk a little bit about why folks should consider cloud video.
Well, it really reduces the upfront cost to the customer. You don't need an expensive DVR or NVR to make all of this work. So that alone gives you a reduced installation time. The cameras being IP, it's a very simple enrollment process on our end through the app. So that provides for an easier camera installation. Get in and get out as quickly as possible while providing a really great service. Reducing service calls, there's really no service or maintenance required. Obviously, never say never, but it really reduces your chances for that with the camera manufacturers that we have partnered with. It's another way to increase your RMR, so it's a monthly charge versus a one-time charge for maybe a DVR or NVR installation. So we're again giving you opportunities to increase your RMR with this SecureSmart Cloud video. As far as the secure video recordings go, it is stored off-site, so the video cannot be removed or deleted by an intruder or a hacker.
Okay, fantastic. Ryan, if you could, let's run through some of the benefits that are associated with SecureSmart Cloud.
So there's really 4 key benefits. One is open IP camera support. The cameras are easy to use. The whole system really is easy to use. It's cost effective, and our pricing model is extremely simple. So in regards to open IP camera support, the video solution works with the largest number of the leading IP cameras in the industry. So you can select the right camera for each customer. You can go with a very simple install all the way up to a more robust camera with several different features. They're easy to use, so it's built for the users who don't want to bother with a complicated, expensive system. And the other benefit is that it's extremely simple for you, the dealer, to install. It's cost effective, so there's no need to purchase expensive hardware, especially if you have multiple sites that need surveillance. For example, you can connect all the cameras to one platform. It's a simple pricing model. We really want to keep the plans designed to fit many user profiles, including both consumer and business customers. Obviously, in some places, you're going to have more traffic than you would in maybe a home as opposed to a business. So stay tuned for more on that.
Awesome. Terrific benefits to consider. Ryan, now let's talk about features. Can you walk us through those?
Absolutely, Vince. So it's an easy setup. You can easily add and remove users. You can quickly and easily install the IP cameras from the mobile app or the portal. The apps and portal are being completely revamped as we speak, and that's going to allow you to provide more admin duties within your organization. There's free dealer branding, of course, for the customer app on iOS and Android devices. And then there's also the branded web-based portal for your customers to use. An additional feature would be live video, so you can watch that live from anywhere and stream multiple cameras simultaneously. Recorded video, you can view and manage recorded media via a timeline viewer on the portal and on the app. Alerts, you can receive alerts when motion's detected. You can easily change those motion detection and camera settings. Sometimes that's a science to get those exactly where you want them depending on the camera manufacturer. And you can also create a schedule as to when to turn on and off your motion detection. For camera control, for integrated cameras that support the functionality, control, pan, tilt, zoom, and motion zones, that as well is available for your use.
Fantastic. A lot of great features. Now for this slide, supported cameras, I would like to bring on Scott. Scott, can you talk to our listeners today about all of the supported cameras?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that when we decided to make this solution, one of the things that we wanted to do from the very beginning was make sure that our dealers weren't locked into just one specific camera or one specific camera vendor, that they could essentially pick the right camera, the right solution for the customer, both in terms of camera capabilities and in terms of the price point. The breakout that you see here between basic and premium and plug and play is really us wanting to make sure that we make it excruciatingly clear that for different manufacturers, we've been able to do different levels of integration with the cameras. The further we've been able to take those integrations, the easier it is to set them up. So if they fall into the kind of the basic configuration column, you can still set them up. You can get that camera up and running and saving data to our cloud, but it's a little bit more difficult. It takes you a little bit more time. It's more tedious user configuration. For what we call the premium ones, we've done more integration with the camera vendors, and we're able to kind of streamline that process. It's a little quicker. Some of the fields are kind of pre-filled out for you when you go into the app to do the installation. And then we have a few select vendors that we've been able to do really, really tight integration with. Those are the ones in that kind of that yellow plug-and-play column. With those guys, it's as simple as scan a barcode, give the things a name, and you're in. It's essentially done, and we're really proud of that integration.
Okay, and folks can refer to the SecureSmart manual for more details on those cameras.
Absolutely.
Okay, Scott, if you could talk a little bit about the mobile app. I know that you've been heavily involved with that.
Sure. So the nice things about the app are these are fully functioning, fully featured apps. They're as good as just about any web portal you've ever seen with video. As with most of them, you can jump right into the live video, but you can also scroll back through hours and hours of video very, very quickly. We create timeline markers for every motion event, so you can look on the timeline, find a marker for an event, say this thing happened first thing in the morning, scroll back to that, click on the marker, and immediately be looking at the video. So it's incredibly intuitive and very straightforward. Obviously, also we've got notifications for motion events. We also have notifications for camera events. If that camera goes down and it can't talk to the internet for some reason, we've got some notifications for that type of thing. And you can modify all the settings for the camera right there in the app. So if you're looking at something and you realize, hey, you know what, I didn't have motion events turned on, you don't have to get out of that app, go back to some other app for camera settings, and then come back in. You can just do it right from the app, and that's a huge win for the vast majority of cameras that are compatible.
Fantastic, and all from the palm of your hand.
Exactly.
All right. Scott, if you could talk about the portals, both the dealer admin side and the customer viewing side. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, I'll start with the customer viewing side first, just because we were just talking about the mobile applications, and they're kind of very similar, right? Some things you can do, you can listen to the audio live. That's something that's been a request. You can, as I said before, just with the mobile app, you can control the camera. So as Ryan mentioned earlier, if you've got a camera that supports pan-tilt zoom capabilities, and we've been able to do that integration with that vendor, then you're going to have those capabilities right both in the portal and in the app. And you can change all of the camera settings as well. So that's for the customer portal, and keep in mind that's branded just like everything else that we do at ipDatatel.
Right.
You can it'll be your logo with the dealer's colors.
Absolutely.
So now that also brings us kind of full circle to the dealer admin portal. So the idea here is to give you a really straightforward and fast workflow to onboard a customer. You click on essentially one button, add a customer. You very quickly can go through and add those customer details, and then with just a few more clicks, you can have, even in the portal, have added a camera to the account and be up and running. So obviously it's important to be able to get up and running fast, but it's also important to be able to kind of be able to test and monitor those cameras. It's always nice if I know ahead of time, if I know before the customer does that they're having a camera problem, and I can call them rather than the other way around. Being proactive creates a huge amount of value in the customer's mind, and that's what we wanted to enable for our dealers to do. And just like everything else, the dealer portal's branded so that you create this cohesive experience for the end user.
That's right. Okay. Let's move on. Now, in this slide, this shows you some of the customer portal features. Can you walk us through what we're looking at here?
Sure. So first thing is, you see there's two camera views here, right? So I've got two different ones. This can be as many as you want, so you could have 20 cameras here. The incredible thing about the web experience here in this portal is that that's dynamic and live. So if I've only got two views here, but say I had 4 or 5, I could drag those around. I could resize them dynamically, and I'm getting live updates of those live views all the time. So that's something we spend a lot of time on. We're pretty proud of it, and it works incredibly well. You can save that view. So if I had multiple cameras and I always wanted to see one of them larger and kind of smaller views of several of them, I can save that every time I come back to that view. That's how I'm going to see it. That's always nice. I can filter by hours or date range. So I can say, I could literally click on a button that says I want to see the last 7 days and see all of that kind of expanded out, or I can filter down to just see the stuff from the last hour. We make really effective use of labels in this product. You can set up labels that are specific to locations. Say I have 4 or 5 cameras in a location, and I just want to give a particular manager access to those cameras. I can use the labels for that. Or I can use them to say, look at all exterior views or all interior views. So it's incredibly powerful, tagging and labels, and we make that available to the end user. On the bottom, you see that everything's kind of timeline oriented, so you can slide around in that timeline to pick on the events. The little vertical dashes that you see there, those are all events on those timelines.
So that's motion.
Exactly, that's motion. So even though you may be recording the entire time, those motion events are letting you know, hey, this is where something actually happened in the frame, and you can very quickly slide to that point.
Okay.
We've got obviously a live view button, so I can just tap that and be looking at all the cameras live. And I can, keep in mind, for each of the different cameras, I can go in and modify their settings through the portal. So incredibly powerful. I can test all those things and live while they're running. And we also have a little feature so that if you want to, you can, with one click, turn all your cameras off. Just essentially stop recording from them.
Okay. All right. A lot of great features in the customer portal. Ryan, I'd like to bring you back into the conversation now. Can you talk about the different plans? I know we have a business plan and personal plans. Let's talk about those two.
Yeah, so these are just two really easy options to understand as far as what features you're going to get with each plan. Of course, in the business plans you get a little bit more You get a little bit more of a feature set that you would probably need in a business and may not need for a personal home. So you can kind of pick and choose there. To go over kind of some key differences between those two plans, continuous recording, for instance, to set up continuous recording to the cloud video servers so that the cameras are recorded 24/7 ensures that the footage is never missed. Multi-user accounts, those are going to set up unlimited users so that members of that business can share the service while restricting access to maybe other cameras or other features. Camera labels in the environments with several cameras use labels to filter, so that creates a much easier view and will also limit user access. Dealer notification monitoring. Dealers can monitor the health of the cameras and proactively alert customers when issues arise. And then for the setup and configuration, dealers/trusted camera installers can configure cameras and the account remotely. So a few more features on the business plan, but personal should definitely get you on your way.
One quick question for you, Ryan. Now, even though it's labeled the business plan, if I, the consumer, just for my personal home, I could choose to have a business plan.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no limit. We're just kind of calling them those two different things there.
Okay, fantastic. Now let's move on to learning more. I will talk about where you can go if you need more information. www.ipDatatel.com. All you have to do is navigate to our SecureSmart Cloud page. There you will find a product sheet as well as technical documents like the SecureSmart Cloud manual. Also, I'm going to have links to our cloud videos. That's going to be coming soon to our YouTube channel. If you need dealer pricing, please contact your ipDatatel sales representative. You can reach out a couple of ways. Via email at sales@ipDatatel.com. That's sales@ipDatatel.com. Also, if you are here locally in the Houston metro area, call us at 713-452-2700, extension 1. If you are outside of Houston metro, please use our toll-free line, 866-896-2944, again, extension 1. Guys, I am looking down our board and I am seeing a lot of questions coming in. So what do you say we get right to those? All right. First question is coming in from Troy in Southern California. He asks, Scott, what happens if my broadband connection goes down? Scott, I'll throw that one over to you.
Sure. So edge storage, which is storage of the video on the camera, and being able to view that in our app is that's slated for Q4 of 2017. So one of the nice things about being a cloud platform is that we can continually improve on the customer experience without requiring a download. So as that feature comes online, it'll just show up and your app will look slightly differently. You'll have an extra line there. But to really answer the questions, if your broadband connection goes down, you can always store the video to the camera itself if it's got support for that, and then we can pick that video up later.
Okay. Troy, hope that takes care of you. Next question coming in is from TJ in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He asks, Ryan, how do I know exactly what cameras are supported? Ryan, that one's for you.
Absolutely. So the great benefit of SecureSmart Cloud is that we support a wide range of popular IP camera brands. So we're currently working on a camera compatibility tool, so stay tuned for that. But we will have something that says, here's the features of each camera, here's the brand of each camera, here's the model, the part number, everything that you're going to need in order to make the right decision when you're selecting a camera for your customer.
Great. That's going to be very convenient. Next up on the board, I have James in New Jersey. James asks, how secure is SecureSmart Cloud? I have seen the TV news reports of cameras being hacked. Can this happen to my customers? Scott, that one's for you.
That's a great question, James, and you're focused on the right things there. So with the clear majority of the cases we see on TV news, the attack vector that made the cameras vulnerable was really inappropriate configuration. So if your camera's set up correctly with the appropriate kind of non-default usernames and passwords, then this platform is inherently secure end-to-end. We utilize 256-bit SSL encryption for security and privacy. So really, and we even put safeguards in place that kind of force you down that path and force you to make some of those proper configurations.
Okay, great. That's a great question, James. Hope that helps you out. Next up on the board, I have Jonathan in Louisiana. He asks, once I have installed the cameras, how difficult is it to enroll cameras into your app? Scott, I'm going to throw that one to you.
Yeah, so that's a great question again. So bottom line, it's incredibly easy. So we've gone to great lengths to work with the camera vendors to make this process as frictionless as possible. We know that time is money for you guys, and we want to make sure that you can really just get this done absolutely as fast as possible. So with plug-and-play cameras, it's easy as selecting a camera name, scanning a barcode, entering a login and password, and modifying a few settings. It can be as short as a 2-minute process.
Wow, that's great. Jonathan, hope that helps you out. Guys, I'm looking down the board. Let's go to the next question.
Scott, I am looking down the board, and we've got almost 20 questions to go, so let's get right into it. Ronnie in South Florida has a question. He says, what is the dealer cost for SecureSmart Cloud service? You mentioned a simple pricing model. What is my bottom line? Scott, what do you have to say?
And so the first thing you do is just contact your ipDatatel sales rep, for the actual pricing. But the main thing I would say is this: that this is your business, right? So that means you get to set the retail pricing, but ultimately our retail suggested pricing allows for about 30 to 50% margin, on top of what we're charging each dealer.
Okay. Next question, Thomas. Does SecureSmart Cloud support a majority of camera features such as presets?
So if you, when we get to the point that we can show you the app, you'll see in the app there's a whole bunch of features that you can set there. Depends on what you mean by presets. If what you're talking about with presets is things like cameras that roam a specific area and that kind of stuff, a lot of that stuff can be set up on the camera, but we don't support those features in the app yet. So I think that answers that question.
Okay. Thomas has 2 follow-ups. Number 1, do you have a demo login? Number 2, is there a quick daily recap feature?
Yeah, so in terms of a quick daily recap feature, one of the things that I would say is we don't have a feature where you push a button and it takes you through all the different motion events. But if you look at our user interface, the way that the timeline is laid out, it's very, very intuitive and very simple to go through, find all the places where you've had motion events, and click through those. And it kind of leads you down that path, right? If I click on the first one, when it's done with that one, it will kind of snap to the next one, and I can very quickly go through them. So great feature request. As a product manager, I will add that to my list. But I don't have a one-button see what's happening during the day yet.
Okay. Question from Jamie. Are the cameras being installed going to be programmed via ONVIF or protocol from each manufacturer?
Yeah, so the quick answer to this is that essentially you should think of it as this. The first step is you get the camera set up and get it programmed the way you want it, and then you connect it and register it through to the cloud so that the video is going there. So the systems and processes that you would have normally used for getting that camera set up still apply. The question here is then what's the storage, and then that's where we come in and you connect and enroll to our cloud storage.
Okay. Next question is coming from Kelly in Houston. Would an Arlo camera work with SecureSmart Cloud?
So the easy answer there is not yet. The fact of the matter is we haven't done any work with those guys yet, but there's been some interest, so I'm sure we'll be talking to them. But the answer is no.
Okay. Question from Todd. Todd asks, do the cameras buffer the video from the SD card if your internet is down?
Yeah, so the short answer there is it depends on the camera. You guys I'm looking down the list of questions. You guys may hear me say that a couple of times. But it really does depend on the camera. Some cameras are good at that, and you can set those settings on the camera. You have an SD card. Some of them are always storing the SD card. Some of them are storing higher resolutions to the SD card. So the short answer is it depends on the camera.
Okay. Aaron in Houston asks, will SecureSmart Cloud work with both iOS and Android?
Of course it will. The answer is both.
There you go, Aaron. Hope that helps you out. Next question is from Thomas. Is there a feature for a quick recap of the last 5 minutes, for example?
There's not, but if you were to look at the user interface, you can very quickly grab the slider, slide back 5 minutes, and it will take you to the last 5 minutes. In fact, if you're digging around and looking for an event or a series of motion events, it's pretty easy to use. We've built in filters at 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, so that you can compress or decompress that timeline and really spread it out to make it very quick and easy, super intuitive to find things in the interface.
Okay. Another question coming in. How much upload bandwidth is required per each camera?
Yes, remember a minute ago I said you're going to hear me say it depends on the camera?
Yeah, I remember that.
So the same answer kind of applies here. So if I've got a newer, higher technology camera that's got H.264, 265, or maybe even 265 plus encryption on it, I mean not encryption but compression on it, then the amount of that bandwidth is going to be much, much smaller than one that's just kind of motion JPEG, right? So the reality is it depends upon the technology that's in your camera. The better the compression, the lower the bandwidth.
Okay.
If you're looking kind of for rule of thumb, keep in mind that we're sending 720p to the cloud. So if you've got a kind of a standard run-of-the-mill H.264 camera, you're talking 300K. Okay.
Todd, hope that helps you out. Thomas has another question. What about doorbell-type cameras? Is there support and integration for these types of cameras?
I would assume you're talking about the Ring and the Skybell guys. We haven't done an integration with them yet. There's some discussion about how we would do that integration. Will we integrate with their app on the back end, or will we integrate directly to the cameras? There's also been some discussion about going out and finding some other camera manufacturer and doing the integration. Don't have one yet. I would say watch this page, right? I expect that we know that that's a driving force in the marketplace, and that we're out making sure that we have that available for you.
Okay, so it's on your radar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Todd asks, can you access the SD card recordings or DVR, NVR recordings using the SecureSmart Cloud app after cloud storage has been deleted?
So the answer to that is this is something we've been working on. Code's very, very close, and you should expect to see this feature come very, very quickly. It's actually pretty neat to see. Earlier in the presentation, we showed a one-page view of the interface, and you can see we had one timeline there. Basically, what it looks like is several timelines for that one camera, and you can kind of pick and choose going back in between them. We're excited about this feature, and it is something we will have. I don't have it today.
Okay, Todd, hope that helps you out. Andre asks, does the mobile app have my dealer branding as well? Great question, Andre.
Yeah, so the answer is absolutely. So keep in mind, this is ipDatatel we're talking about, and dealer branding is something that we've been about from the very beginning, right?
Absolutely.
So we know that you own this relationship with your customers, and that's something that was super important to us from the very beginning. So absolutely, dealer branding is a part of the solution.
There you go, Andre. Gust has a question. What are the number of cameras per location?
Yeah, so it's really about the question that I think Todd asked earlier, which is about the bandwidth, right? So if you've got a specific location that's bandwidth limited, you're going to be limited to the number of cameras. If you've got a location that's got 10 megs up, then you're going to be able to put a lot of cameras in that location. So really, it's about the bandwidth constraint. It's certainly not about the app constraint, right? So keep in mind, this is a cloud app, and this is designed for us to take in a whole lot of data. So that means that in one account, I could have 20, 30, 50 cameras spread across multiple regions, right? I can have lots of, I can label those and sort them effectively because we've built that into the app so that it's really easy to manage a whole bunch of cameras from one interface.
Okay, there you go, Gus. Hope that helps you. Aaron has another question. Do you handle the SecureSmart Cloud camera portal?
Do we handle the SecureSmart Cloud camera portal? So here's how this works: is when this launches at the end of the week, if you're an ipDatatel dealer, you will go and log into Alarm Dealer just like you would today.
Okay.
In the Alarm Dealer interface, once we launch, there will be a button there that says Manage Cameras. When you hit that button, it will launch you into the SecureSmart Cloud portal directly, and then you'll be able to manage all of your camera users in that portal. The nice thing about that is it creates the context awareness, right? So when you're in that portal, you know, I'm looking at cameras, I'm testing cameras, and you're thinking about it in those terms. And it's very, very simple. It's setting up a new user in that portal is incredibly quick. And keep in mind, that's branded free as well.
Yeah, and like we had mentioned earlier in the presentation, we do have technical documents like the SecureSmart Manual and our Quick Start Guide for SecureSmart Cloud. Those are online at ipDatatel.com. Hope that helps you out. Aaron, Thomas asks, can the events be color tagged as motion or external input triggers?
So the answer is someday very soon. So today, they're all one color because they are all motion events. We don't have access to external input triggers yet, but the APIs that will make that possible exist or in place. And as we, in the future, merge the two apps that we have, one is SecureSmart Cloud, one is SecureSmart, as we get to that merger point, that will be something that will be incredibly important to us.
Okay, and I think we may have covered this one earlier. Jimmy asks what bandwidth is required for camera upload and what codecs are supported.
Yeah, so this is kind of an expansion of that
Okay.
other question. So basically, all of the major codecs. If you've got some secure thing, then some obscure thing, we may have to talk about that. But you know, all of the modern codecs are supported.
Okay, Jimmy, there you go. Moving down the line, Sean asks, is there a product that works with these cameras that would allow me to store video on site, or is this only a cloud-based?
Yeah, so this goes back to the question we answered earlier a little bit. We do plan integration with NVR capabilities, so you could have the camera stream to an NVR and stream to the cloud. And for that matter, it's a feature we're planning for and look forward to supporting.
Okay, Sean, hope that helps you. This also covers Jimmy's question. Jimmy says, asks, where is the video stored?
So I'm not sure what specifically he's asking. So the answer is in our data center. It's in the cloud. We spent a lot of time and energy making sure that the storage that we use for this is incredibly durable.
Okay, Jimmy, hope that helps you out. Daryl asks, if a camera is an OEM version from a supported manufacturer, how exactly will it be supported?
Essentially the same way. The reality is you guys, for a lot of the folks out there that have been doing cameras for a long time, they've got OEM deals. So say Hikvision cameras, there's a lot of people that have OEM versions of those. As long as you can load a firmware that's one that we're compatible with, then you should be good to go.
Okay. Scott, I have another question from Andre. Andre asks, do you have the bulk camera ad? What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, so the answer here goes back to kind of my original answer around kind of the various experiences that we've been able to create with each of the camera vendors. For HOMLOG cameras, it allows you to kind of scan the network. It gives you a list of all the HOMLOG cameras. It'll upgrade the firmware via the mobile. It'll add them all at once to the customer site. So it's a very, very powerful solution that's been made capable by the partnership that we have with those guys.
Okay, Andre, thank you for your question. Thomas wants to give a quick shout out. He says he loves the fact that we have a broad range of choice of preferred cameras. That's we do. There's quite a bit of cameras, right?
Yeah, that was kind of when we set out to create this solution, having a wide variety of cameras for people to and not just the range of cameras, but range of capabilities, range of price points, right?
Right.
We know that not everybody can afford $1,000 cameras. I certainly can't, and so. And we know that you have a wide range of customers, right? So if I've got a very large business that wants to have very top of the line cameras, they're looking for 4K. Great, show 4K to the NVR. But when that NVR gets swiped or breaks down or whatever, have 720p in the cloud.
So this basically allows dealers to market to a wide range of end user customers.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. Thank you for that comment, Thomas. Moving down, John asks, I joined the webinar late. Will this be available to view later? The answer is yes. Thank you, John, for being here. Daryl asks, can analytics be used with SecureSmart Cloud?
I'm not sure I understand the question. So, Daryl, if you can, in the chat, if you can kind of expand on your question, we'll see if we can get it answered for you.
Okay. Todd asks, will the supported cameras buffer? Oh, we answered. Will supported cameras buffer the video if the internet is slow? Can you set to upload after business hours?
Definitely a feature we've been talking about. Not a current feature, but it's something that look. I call that beamforming, right? When we have our discussions, it's really about being able to kind of utilize the bandwidth at various times, and it's something we've spent some time talking about it, but not a feature I have today.
Okay. Thomas asks, regarding motion detection settings, are these configured within the camera or within the portal?
So the answer goes back to depends on the camera, right? So some of the cameras we've got enough of an integration that you can do it through the app, but keep in mind that even when you're doing it through the app, you're doing it on the camera, right? It's the camera's sensors and the camera's capabilities to sense that motion or sense the changes in pixelation across the image that it's looking at that determines whether it's good or bad at that determines those settings. So regardless of where you enter the data, you're actually changing it on the camera.
Gotcha.
I hope that answers your question, Thomas.
Okay, I've got one from Jamie. Jamie asks, do we need to forward ports on the router to get data out to the cloud?
Yeah, so I hate to sound like a broken record, but this depends on the camera too, right? So keep in mind that we've talked about the different experiences that we've been able to curate with the various vendors. That Hanwha integration I was talking about earlier, you don't have to do any of that, right? All that tunneling just happens. And we've got a whole bunch of other cameras that we've worked with those vendors to make that happen. If your camera isn't one of those kind of plug and play premium level ones, you'll have to handle the port forwarding on the router.
Okay.
But once that's done, then you're able to go and register and get it enrolled so that we're picking up the stream of
once you've
video.
done it the first time.
Once you've done that port forwarding the first time.
Okay. Sean has a good question. Does the customer have to have a quote good internet provider because these are IP cameras? Also, would putting these on the customer's network cause any lag to the end user's internet, such as all of the family's smart devices?
So great series of questions. So
yes.
Do they have to have a good internet provider because these are IP cameras? So the answer to that is essentially yes, right? So if you've got somebody who's just a terrible internet provider and your internet's cutting out all the time, both upstream and downstream, then that's going to create a problem, right? You will see, if we can't get the video to the cloud, you're going to see gaps in the recordings that we've got. Would putting these on a customer's network cause any lag to the end user's internet? So these aren't intensive in the way that normal internet usage is intensive. That said, most internet in the U.S. today is still asynchronous, which means you get a lot more downstream bandwidth than you do upstream bandwidth. Generally, the stuff that mommy sees, interactions with is, Netflix isn't working or things like that. smart devices, they actually add very little to your internet traffic. Cameras would add a bit more, but they're on the upstream side. They're not on the side that you're watching Netflix is going to get hampered by. So the overall answer to this is yes, do pick your internet provider wisely, and yes, not having enough upstream would hinder the capability to have either lots of cameras or good quality. Keep in mind, if you're in those situations, you can always use the higher compression ratios, send lower quality video, right? Instead of sending 720p, send 480, right?
Okay.
There's all kinds of things that you can do to kind of work around that.
Okay.
But if you just got somebody who's terrible, then you've got somebody who's terrible, and you just have to work around that.
Okay, Sean, yeah, the answer is yes, and there are workarounds. Let's see. Thomas asks, when is the launch date, and when can I start offering SecureSmart Cloud to my client?
We're not actually going to launch this thing. So it's the end of the week. Our launch date's the 15th.
The 15th. There you go, Thomas. Kelly asks, can you migrate from one portal into another? I think she means within Alarm Dealer.
Migrate from one. So if you're in an Alarm Dealer, if you're in our Alarm Dealer portal, the one that you're used to going to every day, if you're an ipDatatel dealer, then there's a button that you will push that says Manage Cameras. That's only for dealers, right? So if I'm a user and I go in to Alarm Dealer, I'm not going to see anything related to the cloud. If I'm a user, I'm going to go to your branded sub-portal for the cloud. So if you've got questions about that directly, shoot those to us. We're happy to walk you through it. And for that matter, I think the Quick Start Guide answers those questions pretty well as well.
All right, Kelly. Let's see. Todd asked, do you have pinch to zoom within the app?
Yes.
There you go, Todd. Answer is yes. Next question. Daryl, will you be supporting, let's see, Jimmy asks, will this be added to my Alarm Dealer portal automatically, or do I have to contact sales?
So in Alarm Dealer, what will happen is on the 15th, when we launch, that Manage Cameras buttons will just show up. And if you decide, or you've got a customer, when you get your first customer, you go and you click on Manage Cameras, and you will have the portal set up.
Okay, so that will magically appear on the 15th. Todd asked, if the camera has a tripwire, can that be used?
So the answer is not yet. That capability is something that we're working on, and we've got a couple of different possibilities there. So the short answer is not yet, but that is absolutely something that we feel is important. Look, we think that the place where this is most valuable to the customers is when all of these sensors that they've invested in with their security system can be merged with this data from the cameras.
Okay. Thomas asks, due to some of the recent events, I assume he's meaning weather events, do you use more than one offsite cloud center?
Yeah, absolutely. So keep in mind that I mentioned earlier that our data is extremely durable.
Yes.
All that data is being not only hosted across VPCs, but across various sites. So you can rest assured that that data is not going to get lost.
It's very secure.
So and I should say that he may not be asking just about durability. He may also be asking about accessibility.
Okay.
And so because we're hosted in multiple places, you'll also be routed to the one that's got the best bandwidth for wherever you're coming in from.
Okay. Thomas asks, this may be rhetorical, but do you have a one-app solution for both alarm control and video?
Yeah, so the short answer to that is not yet. So we've built our roadmap such that it looks like this. Basically, I have a roadmap for our SecureSmart app, which is the one that you're used to using for alarm control.
Right.
And then we've separately got SecureSmart Cloud. And ultimately, the path for us is to merge those apps, to have them have inter-app functionality. Today, it's two separate apps. Ultimately, we suspect that we will be able to get to one.
Okay. Looks like I've got a couple more. Does ipDatatel support H.265 cameras?
So the app today does support the H.265 cameras, and we've got even some H.265 Plus cameras that we're working with to get that technology on board. So I would say if you've got 265 cameras that you're interested in or that you're looking at supporting, give us a shout. We'd love to talk to you about it and validate that with you before you go spend the money on the cameras. But the answer is yeah. The technology is in place.
Okay. Monty, I have an existing analog DVR from SnapAv. It has streaming control for system as well as its own app. Is there a way to keep this equipment but use your cloud service?
Existing, I don't know. Don't know what the cameras are. Those may be analog cameras, since you said DVR instead of NVR. He says analog DVR. So my gut says no, but there may be a way from that DVR, depending on how feature rich it is, to essentially take that stream and send it out from the DVR, and we might be able to pick that up in the cloud. But my gut would say no to that one.
Monty, reach out to your sales representative, 713-452-2700, extension 1. We can probably take a few more of these. Vivitech supports video reclaim. Is video reclaim an available feature? If the stream is disconnected on the board, the memory card begins to store video. Is the connection reestablished if the video stream is disconnected?
Yeah, so I think what he's talking about is on the Vivitech cameras, there's a capability for the camera to monitor the connection. When it sees the connection's been lost, it will record to the card, and then when that connection comes back, it will then reestablish it. So the answer is no, we don't support that feature today. I believe that's one of the things that the development team's been looking at. Keep in mind, look, we know and understand all of this realm of questions around the durability of these connections, and they are the focus of the R&D that we're putting into this product. So I'm seeing a lot of. If I look at these questions, kind of there seems to be a theme, and that theme seems to be around the various failures that you just see with a typical NVR setup. And that's one of the beauties of going to the cloud is I don't have to worry about a hard drive failed on site. I don't have to worry about some of the connection failures that I have and things like somehow a manufacturer ended up pushing a new set of BIOS, and I now need to go and update all which I don't have to worry about that.
Right. And I'm getting a couple of questions regarding analytics from Daryl. Cameras have inherent analytic capabilities. Will analytics be supported by SecureSmart Cloud?
The answer is not yet.
Okay, Daryl. Let me see, Jimmy. Can I use a current customer's user in my alarm portal to add cameras, or do I need to create a separate user, one for alarm dealer, or one for alarms and one for cameras? He's asking about the portal. Will he need to create a new?
Yeah, great question. So what we did when we integrated the portals was we only integrated them at the dealer level. So you will need to create a new user on the camera side. And there's a couple of reasons for that. The real answer kind of overall is we have a planned effort to go through and kind of revamp all of the portals. Mm-hmm. And so as we do that, we're going to be creating a completely new methodology for authenticating to our systems, one that's more robust, has newer technologies associated with it. As we do that, we'll be integrated with both of those systems kind of simultaneously.
Okay, so to answer Jimmy's question, he would have to create one on the alarm side, one on the camera side.
Correct.
Okay. Todd is asking about the portal. Can you change the border colors within the app, and can you change the theme, such as from red to blue? So he's talking about the dealer branding, and can you change the colors within that?
You can change some of it.
Okay. There you go, Todd. And Sean asks, not familiar with every camera that you showed. Depending on the environment, would you have to run possible power wires?
Yeah, so obviously everything needs power to run. So that might be a reference to some of the Arlo cameras, that Arlo question we got earlier, where cameras run on batteries. Not a huge fan of that, but I know a lot of people are doing it. And so generally I would say you've got to get power to a camera, right? So either PoE or some sort of power run.
Okay. And then John is asking, will we get a link to the webinar? The webinar will be made available to everyone shortly. We'll be sending that out pretty soon. I think that is just about it. Do you see anything else here, Scott? I think we've cleared everything out. All right.
You're right, but I think that was way more than 20 questions.
It was more than 20 questions. It took about 45. I'm going to give out some information again. To learn more, you can go to ipDatatel.com. There I have product information on SecureSmart Cloud, such as the product sheet, technical documents like the SecureSmart Cloud Manual and the SecureSmart Cloud Quick Start Guide. Soon we will have this webinar available to everyone. Also, for dealer pricing, please contact your sales representative. You can reach out via email at sales@ipDatatel.com. Here locally in Houston, 713-452-2700, extension 1. Outside of Houston Metro, 866-896-2944, extension 1. Also, you can use those same numbers, type in extension 3 if you need technical support. I would like to say thank you to Ryan, our Director of Business Development, for joining us. He had to take off early. I would like to thank you, Scott, Product Manager at ipDatatel. Thank you for being with us. Scott, did you want to have say anything to close out today?
No, just we've actually spent a lot of time on this product. We announced it originally back in March at IC West, and we're super excited that this has come out. I would say reach out to your sales rep, get with them, have all the conversations you need to have. This is an exciting product. For the first time, it really brings the MRR type of business or RMR type of business that our dealers are used to having with that relationship they're used to having with their customers to the camera space.
Mm-hmm.
And it does it at a price point that is right? We've given you a whole range of cameras that you can select from. You don't have the upfront cost of hard drives and DVRs, and it's super simple to explain. It's a price per camera per month. That's it. So we're super excited about it. We hope you guys are excited about it, and we're looking forward to the launch this week.
Awesome. Scott, thank you so much for being here and answering all these great questions from the audience. Folks, again, thank you for taking the time to join us. 713-452-2700. Contact ipDatatel to learn more about SecureSmart Cloud. Thank you, everybody. We will talk to you next time.